Riga Autobus Factory. The Riga Autobus Factory RAF, Latvian, Rīgas Autobusu Fabrika was a factory in Jelgava, Latvia, making vans and minibuses under the brand name Latvija. History. During the Soviet period, RAF and UAZ were the only producers of vans and minibuses in Soviet Union. RAF vans and minibuses were used only by state enterprises, most often as ambulances, and for public transit. Private persons were not allowed to own them, the only exception being for families with at least 5 children. In 1949, the factory began producing van bodies on the site of the Riga Auto Repair Factory No. 2, commonly known as RARS. In 1955, it was renamed the Riga Experimental Bus Factory Latvian, Rīgas Autobusu Fabrika, Russian, Riga Autobus Factory, and the products started to be abbreviated to RAF. It would become the main Soviet producer of minibuses. RAF first product was the RAF-251, a 22-seat local bus, based on the GAZ-51 chassis which RAF also built, with a wood and metal body. There was also a passenger and freight version combi, the 251T, with a payload of 14 passengers and 800 kg 1800 lb cargo. From 1958, the factory started to produce RAF-977 minibuses, based on GAZ-21 Volga engine between the front seats, rather like the Dodge Aeon 100. It was planned to produce passenger route taxis for airports, and for sporting teams, freight, mail, and ambulance versions of the vehicle to replace the modified estates then in use. Drawing inspiration from the VW Type 2, it had a front-mounted water-cooled 2445cc 149.2 engine based on the Volgas, with a lower compression ratio, and seated 10. It debuted in 1957, and 10 were built for display at that year's Moscow Youth Festival, leading to a proposed name festival. The first batch was produced in 1959, under the new RAF 977 name. It got 13 L/100 km 18 mpg US, 22 mpg imp, and could reach 62 mph 100 km/h, the majority of those being hand-built. In 1965, RAF proposed 2 prototypes, with the hope of persuading Minavtoprom to finance a new factory, a conventional version, comparable to the Ford Transit dubbed the RAF 962i, or a forward control version, similar to the Renault Estafette dubbed the 962 Roman II. RAF management, in a rare move for a Soviet company, created 2 competing teams to individually design a new van. The conventional 962i was selected, which seemed less likely to provide the money for an all-new facility. So RAF tried to persuade the selection committee to adopt the more radical 962 Roman II, and did. A 1-ton variant was based on a modernized 977D chassis. However, the factory size was not large enough to put this model into mass production, and therefore it was moved to Yerevan, Armenia. Construction of a new factory in Jelgava to build the new 962 Roman II, now known as the RAF-2203 Latvia, was begun 25 July 1969 and finished in February 1976. It was designed to produce 17,000 vehicles per year. The factory produced several versions of the RAF-2203. By the beginning of the 1990s, the RAF-2203 was completely outdated, and the factory set about designing a new model. The original plan was to build a new RAF vehicle to be called the Roxana, designed with help from the British consultancy International Automotive Developments. The model was successfully displayed at several auto salons, but never got further than a prototype. The same thing happened to the front-wheel drive style microbus. After the collapse of the USSR, the new borders broke the supply chains and production fell drastically. An investment proposal came from the Russian GAZ company, but it was rejected by the Latvian government, which considered Russian capital a threat to Latvian independence. Although some Western and East Asian investors also showed their interest in RAF, all of them considered this investment too risky as the local market was too small to support large production, and the Russian market was virtually closed due to the complicated political relationship of Russia and Latvia. In 1997, the last batch of 13-seat RAF-22039s was released. The last automobile produced by the dying giant was the RAF-3311, a hearse. In 1998, RAF went bankrupt. The only part of the company that survived was RAF Avia, a charter airline set up using the 4 airplanes owned by the plant. The 120,000 into 1,300,000 SQFT manufacturing site, complete with machinery, is owned by JSC Latvia. They considered selling it to a Western automaker, but this proved unrealistic. As of 2002, the assembly shop was still in order and all the design documents existed, so production could be started again if there should be a need. AZ expressed interest, but probably only for the designs. Rumors came out in 2018 of RAF being revived, as Rīgas Autobusu Fabrika, RAF, was registered in a Latvian company database. It is believed they will show of their first new model in 2019 and start production in 2020. It was also believed that RAF will now focus on electric-powered vehicles like vans and trolleybuses. Models. RAF-251 GAZ-51 based bus 1955-1958. RAF-8 Moskvich 407 based 8-passenger prototype bus 1957. RAF-10 GAZ M20 based 9-11 passenger bus 1957-1959. RAF-982 experimental bus. RAF-977 Latvija GAZ-21 based 10-passenger van/bus/ambulance/taxi 1959-1976. Also made in DDM and IM models. RAF-2000 203 Latvija Volkswagen van 1976-1997. RAF-2000 203 Latvija Delivery Volkswagen delivery van. RAF-2000 203 Latvija Cardiology Volkswagen cardiac ambulance. RAF-2000 203 Latvija Fire Volkswagen fire minivan. RAF-2000 203 Latvija GAI Volkswagen police van. RAF-2000 203 Latvija mail Volkswagen mail van. RAF-2000 203 Latvija taxi Volkswagen taxi van. RAF-2000 203 Latvija VAI Volkswagen military police van. RAF-22 1031 Latvija Volkswagen ambulance. RAF-2907 special car for Summer Olympic in Moscow. RAF-2914 Volkswagen ambulance van. RAF-3311 Latvija Volkswagen pickup on RAF-2000 203 chassis. RAF-33111 Latvija Volkswagen light truck on RAF-2000 203 chassis. RAF Latvija collector Volkswagen cash collector on RAF-2000 203 chassis 3 chassis. RAF Latvija tourist van, motorhome. RAF Moan Rixana prototype minivan 1991. RAF M2 Stills prototype minivan 1994.